People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning. I hope you're all doing well and safe on this Monday morning, whoever you are, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing. Couple of things to speak about. The first one being Balogun. You know, our young striker, Florin Balogun, very young, 18 years of age, 19 this month, but the potential is clear. Good goal scorer. You know, scoring at this level is almost irrelevant, but he lives and breathes goals, all sorts of goals. Bangers, poaching efforts, great movement, link-up plays, call it all in my opinion, to have a good career as a professional. Away from that, clearly got a good attitude, very patient, waits his time, people. He's been linked with a move away again. Now, if you lot remember me, I don't think my language in relation to Balogun has changed. From my perspective, he's someone you got to keep. He's someone that hopefully progresses to first team. If not, you get a decent change for him if he develops and whatnot. But he's also someone, I've said a couple of players, you need to leave Arsenal, not for the sake of leaving Arsenal, but it's a first team thing. What I mean by that is, doesn't necessarily mean he's starting immediately first team week in, week out. But could I necessarily say, if I was his agent, loved one, or Balogun, I could see a pathway at Arsenal? I'm not too sure. Obviously, playing for a team like Arsenal as a striker, there's a lot of things you have to worry about. And equally, it's a great position for Arsenal to be in that you've got Eddie, you've got Balogun, you've got Tyrese. You know, for me, if I think the club don't get 60 million for all of them, it doesn't matter if it's 20 million a piece, 40 million for one. That should, them three there, regardless of if you believe they've got ability or not, they should be progressing to first team or making significant funds, people. If they can't, there's a problem. For Arsenal, that's great. You know, we protect our resale value. For them, it's not, because, you know, Tyrese, Eddie, Balogun, Eddie's made the movements right now, but it's crabs in a barrel. You know, it's probably difficult for even one of them to make it, let alone three. So he's fighting against his own academy man here, people. I think he's fighting against the players there, crabs in a barrel. You've obviously got, you know, the fact of under-23s football. I wouldn't say he's left that level. Well, he has left that level. It's time to play first team, or it's time to go to a team where there's a clear pathway and that you're training with the first team, you're on the bench, you know, you're getting your opportunities, or you might have to play for their B team or under-23s, but the pathway is there, people. I know he's trained with the first team, but how many times has he done that? When you consider, like I said, there's other rivals for positions. You've obviously got Lacazette and Aubameyang, whose futures are also in doubt. But, you know, you'd imagine at least one of them's there for the next 18 months, in which they might be deemed a better option than Balogun. He hasn't touched our bench. Do you get it, people? So there's a lot of players in his pathway. Is it going to happen for him, people? You know, you could get opportunities in other positions, but it makes sense to go anywhere. My language hasn't changed, people. I've said it before. Balogun should get out of Arsenal and go play first team football, a team where there's a pathway. You look at Brentford. If I was to eye up, I don't think at the minute he signs for Brentford he's going to play week in, week out. But I think similar to Josh De Silva, you know, you're going to train with the first team. There's a structured pathway, and before long he's going to get to do it. Even if he does stay at Arsenal, he needs to go out on loan and play first team football. Now, my thinking is this, you know, he could very much become a 20 million plus player in the future, but they're looking at it similar to Amici. Arsenal need funds. Removing players from the first team and the ones that are in the first team now is one thing, but they might be looking at it as that, you know, we've got Tyrese, John Jules, we've got Eddie, we might sign another striker, you know, we haven't got that many funds. If a team comes in for 5 million with a player that's never played for our first team with a sell-on clause, we'll take that. And isolated, that's good business. It's only not good business because you're looking at Balogun in like 18 months, he could be a 20 million player. You look at, again, I don't like to look at them, but from a business proposition, did you get top dollar for Daniel Marlon? Did you get for Benassia? Did you get for Gnabry? It's about learning, because if this is Chelsea, you look at their striker, Borja, he's bullied us at 23's level. That's how I was put onto him. But he signed a new deal. Is he going to make it at Chelsea? I don't know. But they've protected their value. And for Arsenal, you know, seeing someone contracted until 2021, apparently talks have been progressing this month, but it hasn't happened. An agreement hasn't come close. He has to move. And if I'm Balogun, rightly so, we're not signing a deal. You should not sign a deal at this club, as much as I love it, until you're given some sort of assurances about, you know, your first team future, what's going to happen for you. Because before you know it, you sign a 3-year, 4-year deal, you know, you're going out on loan or you're not getting an opportunity, and then you've not developed to the scale you have done. I'd love him to stay at Arsenal, but unless Arsenal are sitting there and saying, you know what, we've got a pathway, you're going to go out on loan and do this, or you're going to train with the first team and do this, there's no point, because you can't see it. He's got to be selfish now. He doesn't have to be the finished article, and there's no immediate rush to leave. He could even see out his last year at Arsenal. But, you know, he's got to go and play football. And Arsenal might look at it as, you know, we get a fee, we get a sell-on clause. He's never played for our academy. Our academy takes around anything from 1 to 3 million a year to run. You sell someone for 5 million, how much times is that paid over? You know, that 5 million, as small as it is, could get added to Arteta's category, and you're looking at it as funds have been generated, and you can imagine that you could see Arsenal doing that, because they might say, okay, we let him go, we've got Tyrese, we've got Eddie, you know, we've got these other young strikers coming through the academy, we'll let it go. And to be fair, away from it being Balogun and me wanting him to stay, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if there's no pathway, you know, you've got to sell players. But I think he's got a fantastic future. Of course, I would love to say buyback clause, sell-on clause, all sorts of clauses. But, you know, if I'm Arsenal, I genuinely see them just letting him go for a sell-on for a couple million, 5 million, just based on we rejected that from Brentford, sell-on fee, and that is what it is. It will be disappointing for him to leave, people. Obviously, you got to do the maths. How much is he training with the first team? There's a lot of strikers and attacking players on the books. There's a lot of inconsistencies as to where Arsenal is going to go in the future. So how much opportunities a young striker is going to get? You know, he's got to look at his own. He's got to be selfish, and you know, all the things point towards the exit door at Arsenal. Sadly, people, you know, this season he's done all he can as well to a degree. You know, it's also about remaining patient. Just because other people are involved and he's not, doesn't necessarily mean his time's not coming. But Arsenal probably have to sell. You know, he's 19 next month. In 15 games, you know, he scored 10 goals and got 4 assists. So he's done what he can, people. And a lot of his goals, watching them at 23's level, not that goals count for more. He scored all sorts of goals. But a lot of his goals have been decisive goals where we've needed a winner, we've needed to get back in the game or something like that. And on the topic of assists, I know 4 assists isn't that much, but I think he's really improved. You know, what do you do when you're not scoring, sort of thing? Because being known as a striker, goal scorer is one thing. It's how you affect the game, and you know, if it's hold up play, if it's link up play, all of these other things. The amount of goals you score ultimately sees how good you are. But there's other things, and I think he's improved in that regards, people. You know, he's not been. I don't know how many times he's trained with the first team, but they've probably been limited. When has he appeared on a matchday bench? And he might be looking at is that I'm seeing Medley, you know, centre half. There's been injuries, but there's a lot of centre halves on the books. He's getting his chance. Matt Smith, there's a lot of central midfielders on the books. He's getting his chance being involved in the match day. The same logic, there's bare strikers on the books, but Trusay, you know, Lacazette is on the bench, not really firing. Aubameyang is playing through the left, you know. Tyrese is not eligible, you know, he's injured, but he's not eligible because he went to Lincoln. Well, go on for my team. Where's my chance? It's not happening, innit? Now, you got to remain patient, but at the same time, you got to do the maths, and it don't look like it makes sense, people. So, you know, for me, all the things point towards the exit door for Balogun. As much as I want him to stay, and this is all coming out of the Athletic today, apparently, you know, he's set to leave next month or next transfer window because a new contract with the club could not be agreed. Now, for the club, you know, they've probably been too slow to react. We probably should have been trying to do this last year or the year before with Balogun, because didn't he sign a pro not too long ago? And I think from his agents, they're doing the right thing, you know. If Arsenal are not showing some consistencies as to what the future holds for Balogun, there's no point signing a deal. I see many young players, there'll be contract speculation, they sign a deal, and in the next few years, they're washed up and split up. And to the club, that's nothing. Balogun's come through the academy. Now, obviously, they've invested in Balogun. You know, how much does it cost training and coaching sessions that he's been a part of? How much does it cost individual players to fly them to tournaments? They've invested a lot in Balogun. But they might, so he owes them a sort of praise. But the agent, they owe the club nothing. They should be looking at this. We need to go and become footballers. Like, what can I do to make myself a better player 12 months from now? Is that staying at Arsenal's under 23s with a cloud of doubt? I don't think that's the best. And I think a lot of Championship and Premier League teams will look at him. I would love him to go to Germany and things like that. I think that can really accelerate his development, like you've seen with the youngsters. You know, the Sanjos, the flag bearer. There's many. There's many of them, so we'll have to see how that one works out, man. In relation, away from Balogun though, people, Nicolas Pepe. Now, obviously, underwhelming that, you know, perception versus reality. People are seeing his highlights. In fact, he cost 70 million and expecting fireworks. People, apologies, expecting fireworks. Now, I think if you was watching him last season, you would know he's not currently off that level now. That 70 million price tag is what he's going to live and die by. I think with Pepe, he's taken a while to adjust, but he hasn't been as bad as most people think out to be. He had a good game at the weekend, as you know. And I think with him, you know, it's a personality thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad attitude thing or nothing like that. I'm thinking he's of that age now where, you know, he's a young man. He's same age as me, but it's like and I'm not saying he's not professional, but it's like you've got to live and breathe football now. It's like you've got to do the Pep Guardiola, what City players are doing. This is the first thing. Everything you're doing you know, you're living and breathing football. You're not just playing it. Everything you eat, it's in thinking about football. The minute you sleep, all of these things, you know, obviously not the Cristiano Ronaldo thing, but you see the Cristiano Ronaldo thing, how he's very dedicated. I think that's what he's got to do. He's got to want to be the trailblazer for this club. He can either be a good player or a great player, and I'm not saying he's going to be a legend and things like that, but the potential is there to be a very good player. I think it's a mental thing as well. I think he's got a relish wanting the ball. On the pitch, I mean, it's no coincidence Maitland-Niles isn't perfect, but the minute a fullback overlaps and wants to seek his winger and passing the ball and link up, Pepe plays better. He has the freedom to come off that flank, come inside, to actually start inside, to start on the flanks. Pepe's got the talent. He's not been as bad as people think out to be. You know, only Aubameyang's been involved in more goals than him. He's been directly involved in 16 goals this season in all comps, 8 goals, 8 assists. You know, the highlight for me would obviously be the 2 free kicks, and probably for me the biggest goal was probably the one against Manchester United. I mean, he has had a couple good assists, like what was it, against Newcastle, wherever, and he put in a good cross. I think there's the talent there in Pepe, and what I like about him, he's understood I've got to be able to defend. Like, he might have got away with that being a star player at Leo. Arteta isn't going to take that. And that was one thing you could see as to why he wasn't starting in Arteta's early days. But, you know, he's working, and you can see Arteta praising him. So there's a lot of development to be done, but he's decent, man. Equally, you've got Kieran Tierney, almost messed up his name. Like I said, Mr. Iron Brew. You can tell he's one of them players. He's not bougie, like you saw with the Tesco's bag. When he gets injured, all he needed some Vaseline, some water, and some Vicks. He's hard as nails. I really like Tierney. He's one of them players that unites the fan base, young and old. I think, you know, the younger fans like myself can relate to him. The older fans can relate to him because he just gets on with his job. You know, it's just a case of Tierney just staying fit. Like, he's been unfortunate with injuries. I think he's one of them. I don't want to say he can be our left back for 10 years, but he can be our left back for the foreseeable future. I don't want to say he's one of the best in the league already, because I can't really say that with my chest, but I think he is. He hasn't really got to show anything, but I think he is. I'm not saying he's their best people. I just think he's decent, innit? I really like Tierney, man. I like his mentality. He seems on this thing. He seems to be the guys that likes to do and then talk, not talk and then under deliver. You see how he said it in the build up to the game of Sheffield. The boys want to put things right, blah blah blah. Went and backed it up. You know, on the ball, he's excellent passer, excellent crosser. I like how from the minute he's come into this team, when he's been playing, he's been doing that Celtic stuff, telling people where they want to be. He's got the passion, he's got the technical qualities. He's not the biggest, and he's decent in the air. Obviously, I don't want to see him play centre half, but I've seen him play in the back three. Didn't do it at Sheffield. You know, he was the one that played as a wing back. But I think there's something in that player, man. I really think there's something in him, man. I really like Tierney. You know, he's someone that resonates with me, man. I really like him. And I've said it before, like, there's only a couple of players I think I'll move forward at this team with. Like, I think Pepe and Tierney, progress with them. I think Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, if Aubameyang stays, Torreira. If I haven't said their name, Leno as well. There's a couple players what are decent, but yeah, man, they're the only ones I truly believe in. And a quick word on Martinez. I think Martinez, he's someone I had concerns about, really. I didn't know if his ball playing was as good as it is, because I've just seen him do dumb stuff, really. Didn't know if his goalkeeping was to a level of a certain level. But I think he's doing well. He's taking his opportunities. And, you know, if you keep playing well, I do think Leno will be the top dog, but you've got, you know, you can complicate matters as much as you can for Arteta in terms of selection. So, in relation to sadly Balogun potentially leaving, in relation to Pepe, Tierney, and the rest of it, it's been lovely speaking, guys, but I'm going to keep it moving. People, DG, I'm out.